So good morning. I want to address a recent alarming incident involving a Rockville teenager who was arrested for allegedly planning a school shooting. This situation highlights the critical importance of vigilance and community involvement in preventing potential tragedies. I commend the collaborative efforts of the Montgomery County Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Rockville City Police Department, and Montgomery County Public Schools, as well as Montgomery County Health and Human Services. Thanks to their swift action and cooperation, a potentially catastrophic event was prevented. I want to take a moment to stress that there was considerable patience conducted by all involved, to include our investigators, before making any rash decision in this particular manner. I want to stress that we've been working with Montgomery County Public Schools for several years. And in the midst of our working with Montgomery County Public Schools, it's not our goal to make an arrest in every case of a threat. In fact, this school year alone, we have received 140 threats to our schools in Montgomery County. In those particular instances, particularly when it comes to either the threats of shooting or the threats of a bomb, when we have identified said students, our officers will make a visit to the family residence, speak with the parents as well as the student, to make sure that there is no way or that the student is not capable of carrying out said threat. In those cases, no arrests are made. Those cases are then referred back to the school system for any further discipline which they may incur. But this case is different. This case is entirely different, that takes it to a different level. It was a concerned witness who brought this matter to light by reporting the suspect's manifesto to authorities. This underscores the value of community engagement and the see something, say something approach. Preventing violence in our schools is a top priority, and we are committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of our students and staff. We encourage anyone who has concerns about safety to report them right away. In the wake of this incident, we want to remind students, parents, and staff that support services are available for anyone who may be affected. We must continue together to foster a safe and neutral environment for everyone. While this incident was thwarted, it serves as a reminder that we must remain vigilant and proactive in preventing acts of violence. So I want to give a little bit of a timeline, because as you all know, that this was an extensive investigation that led to an extensive statement of charges to be able to spell out the elements of this said allegation. On March 3rd, the Baltimore County Police Department contacted the Rockville City Police Department to check the welfare of a subject. This particular subject, Mr. Alex Yee, was, again, there were information about a threat that had been made. In regards to that threat, the Rockville City Police Department responded to check the welfare, spoke to the father of Mr. Yee, and was denied entry and not allowed to search the residence or to interview the subject. On March 4th, the Rockville City Police Department notified the Montgomery County Police Department's Community Engaged Division, and at which point in time, our crisis intervention team began an investigation on Mr. Yee. Based upon the information that had been received, because of the threats that the witness had noted that Mr. Yee had made significant statements in regards to committing an act of violence of shooting up not only his high school, Wootton High School, but also shooting up an elementary school, his elementary school that he went to. We have been made aware of this, and therefore, after finding out about this particular information, we discovered that Mr. Yee had shared his memoir, a 129-page manifesto, with the witness. After the visit by Rockville City Police, Alex Yee allegedly rescinded his friend's access to the Google document containing that manifesto. Our investigators obtained a search warrant for that Google account. Limited information showed search history related to firearms. Through his Discord account on March 5th, Yee wrote, "My friend reported me to the police for a book I am writing." Timestamps of Yee's Google search showed that after the visit, that Yee researched gun ranges near me. He also researched minimum age to enter a gun range. And he also obtained written and verbal descriptions of AR-15s. He also looked up the book Forgive Me, which is a novel about a high school student who plans to shoot his friends and then kill himself. During the execution of the warrant, officers were able to read Yee's manifesto, which Yee alleges is fiction. In the document, Yee writes about targeting his former elementary school because little kids make easier targets. He strategized on how to access the easiest classrooms in his high school and how he would be able to sneak a gun into the school. Yee also wrote that he wanted to become a serial killer instead of a mass murderer because serial killers are romanticized a lot more. On Wednesday, March 6th, crisis intervention officers evaluated Yee at his home, and he was taken to a hospital on the strength of an emergency evaluation petition. During his hospital stay, medical staff would later notify the FBI Baltimore field office and Montgomery County Police and the staff on Wednesday, March 13th. Staff was concerned with the threat posed by Yee. FBI agents would go to interview other staff at Wootton High School on Friday, March 15th, speaking to a school psychologist. The counselor stated that Yee was fixated on and made statements every time they spoke about committing a school shooting. Even after being removed from the school, Yee said that he could do something at graduation because he lived close to the school. Yee was preoccupied with self-harm, school shootings, and explosives. The Montgomery County Police Department and FBI visited with Yee at the hospital again on Tuesday of March 19th. Yee declined to speak with investigators at that time. Hospital staff disclosed that Yee shared he routinely searched mass shootings and school shootings on the social media app Discord. Based on the manifesto and internet searches, Montgomery County Police obtains a search warrant for Yee's home on Thursday, March 21st. An iPhone, an iPad, and a laptop were recovered. Messages on the Discord app revealed conversations involving the Columbine shooting and similar school shootings, as well as drawings depicting shootings were found on the iPhone. Searches on Yee's iPad, cell phone, and computer revealed searches for 2023 mass shootings, Sandy Hook shooting game, Parkland shooter sentence, and what counts as a terroristic threat, and more. As a result of the investigation, the Montgomery County Department of Police Community Engagement Division Crisis Intervention Team coordinated with Montgomery County Public Schools to increase security at schools, particularly Wootton High School. And based on this evidence that was gathered in consultation with the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office under the direction of the State's Attorney John McCarthy, an arrest warrant was requested and obtained on April 16th. Yee was taken into custody on Wednesday, April 17th. Again, I want to stress the importance of collaboration. It is important in our community, and these are very difficult decisions to make. We know that we have individuals who are troubled in our community, even our young people. But it is our role in public safety to make sure that these individuals get the necessary help that they need in the times of crisis. And so, again, I want to commend all who were involved, who took the necessary steps, and who had patience, who didn't rush to judgment, and who, again, with other partners and experts who are in this field to make the decision, the more difficult decision, to arrest Mr. Yee. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Elrich.
So thank you all for coming out today. This is really an important incident and a very troubling incident, and it reminds us of the importance of being aware of what is occurring in our community, and also the importance of being supportive of each other in times of distress. The situation detailing the plans for mass violence against our schools has understandably caused anxiety within the school community, because since this is something that has happened before, it is not unreasonable for people to have fears about what could happen if it occurred here and it occurred here again. And I want to thank the swift collaborative efforts between law enforcement agencies, including Montgomery County Police Department, Montgomery County Public Schools, and the FBI that helped prevent this potential tragedy from unfolding. And it's a young person has been charged with a very serious offense of threatening mass violence. I'll say, we know that Al-C struggled with significant mental health challenges, including homicidal and suicidal ideation, over an extended period. And I hope one of the things that comes out of this is a look back on how early did we know that he was either expressing suicidal or homicidal ideation, and when did we begin intervening? It's kind of a statement on the state of mental health within this country. There just are not adequate facilities or practitioners to deal with the mental health issues that exist in our community. And he clearly had mental health issues, and I think it would be worth our while to figure out, when could we have known, or when should we have possibly intervened? Because we may have intervened at the right time, but at a very late time in the process. So hopefully this will lead us to look deeper into what we do for mental health supports. I want to express gratitude for the person who came forward. The chief talked about see something, say something. This person saw something and said something, and that's really important. We don't know where we would be today if that person hadn't come forward and told us what they had seen. I also want to point out that I think one of the comments that Mr. Yee had made in one of his postings was the difficulty of getting guns here. I will point out Maryland has some of the strictest gun laws, and this may be a helpful thing that he found our gun laws an impediment to getting armed. So, people always like to think about, well, what difference does it make? This could well be a case where the difficulty to get guns prevented him from getting a gun when he wanted it, and possibly prevented him from acting as soon as he would have preferred to act. So I think there are some lessons to take away from this going forward. I want to, encourage everybody to have confidence that this department took this very seriously, that we're able to respond in a timely manner, and that, we are now safe from this potential threat. But it's a reminder that we have to continue to remain vigilant to things like that. It's unlikely this person is the only person thinking about these things. And I think we all know that. So the vigilance and the cooperation from people in the community is really important. It's certainly important that, people's friends, when they see a friend going down a very dark path, have the courage to come forward and let us know, and let authorities know, whoever is in an authoritative position, that they're fearful of what somebody might do. Not because they want the person punished, but because they want the person helped. And so I'm really grateful for everybody who played a part in this. And we're going to continue, obviously, we'll be prosecuted. And I hope that we learned from this incident. We don't want these things repeating themselves. Hopefully it inspires people to make more investments in the mental health of our community, because I think we've identified this as a lacking space for a long time. This could be a wake-up call that we need to take it more seriously now. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Special Agent in Charge Bill Del Bagno, followed by Brian Hull, the Chief Operating Officer from Montgomery County Public Schools.
Thank you very much. I'm Bill Del Bagno. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Baltimore Field Office. Let me begin by saying that there is nothing more precious or more important than protecting our children. As a parent myself of school-age children and also a husband to an elementary school principal, keeping schools safe will always be near and dear and a priority. The FBI and our law enforcement partners remain steadfast in the commitment to identify, investigate, and prosecute those who seek to harm the most vulnerable among us. I can say with complete conviction, threats made against school children will not be tolerated. Every day, the FBI works closely with our law enforcement partners, Montgomery County, Baltimore County, Rockville, throughout Maryland, and across the United States to identify and combat crime and threats facing our communities. All students, teachers, staff deserve to feel safe at school. Threats like this deprive them of that right. We are grateful, we are very grateful to the brave witness who came forth with the information and provided it to law enforcement. And we encourage the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity to law enforcement immediately. Every potential threat is taken seriously, and when credible, it warrants intense focus. As we do every day, we remain dedicated to working together and sharing information with our partners to protect the American people, especially our children, and to keep our community safe. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Mr. Hull.
Thank you, Special Agent. My name is Brian Hull. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Montgomery County Public Schools. I first wish to say the charges made yesterday against one of our students are very serious and alarming, and I wish to show my deep appreciation to all the adults who have come together, identified this concern, and moved quickly to address the matter in the best possible way. We value and appreciate the close collaboration between MCPS Security and MCPD, along with the FBI, in this matter. This collaboration is an example of shared commitment to identifying and addressing potential threats with due process before they materialize. In recent years, schools have played an increasing role in helping students cope with the challenges they face and the need to provide safe and supportive learning environments for them to learn and grow. As such, the school staff and our central services staff partnered directly with the police as they conducted their investigation, as is our process when serious matters such as this must be addressed. Again, thank you, Chief Jones, to your team and all your allied police partners for supporting Montgomery County Public Schools through this. To our MCPS parents, especially those in the Wootton High School community and nearby schools, I want you to know that we have supportive resources in our schools for students and school staff who may need to talk through and process this incident. Professionals such as our psychologists, social workers, and counselors are available for support. Also, through our central office and school security teams and our police partners, we continue to have an enhanced security presence at these same schools in the coming days. This is a police matter, and student privacy rules prohibit me from saying much more than this. But we have confirmed to our families that although enrolled in Wootton High School, the student had not been present in any MCPS school physically since the fall of 2022. The student has been taking online classes and accessing our school staff as necessary, remotely. Ensuring the safety and security of our students is not just a priority, it is a daily commitment of all MCPS staff and leadership. Thank you.
Next up is Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy.
My name is John McCarthy. I'm the State's Attorney for Montgomery County. Alex G., who lives in Rockville, and we're essentially really in Rockville today as we're standing here, was charged on March the 3rd of this year with threats of mass violence. The gravamen of that offense actually is making the threat itself. There is tremendous detail in the charging document that you now have possession of that takes you through several months, if not years, that led up to the arrest that took place in March of this year. At that point in time, Mr. E was arrested, and he was arrested as an adult because he committed that offense on a date when he was an adult. There is other evidence that led up to it, and we'll be reviewing that in terms of the dates prior to that. But I will say, like many of the others who preceded me here to the podium, I'm very thankful to the collaboration of the FBI, Rockville City Police, Baltimore City Police, the timely notification that came from Suburban Hospital that told us about their observations when he was committed there on the eve. I will tell you, he is incarcerated. You probably know that. And there is, very shortly after this press conference is over, there will be a bond review in the district court, which is a very short distance from here. That bond review will take place in courtroom 513. He has retained counsel. He has private counsel for the hearing today. The hearing today will be held before Judge Patricia Mitchell, who's previously ran the district court here in Maryland. She is now retired. We will be requesting at that hearing he be held without bond. The charges that he has against him, the threat of mass violence, is a misdemeanor, and the maximum penalty to which Mr. Yee faces is 10 years imprisonment. We will make some additional comment after the bond review, and I am told that some phone calls have been made, and some of you have been to bond reviews before here in Montgomery County. This case is going to be called first. So if you're making your plans for the day, it will be called at the top of the docket at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
We do have representatives from the Montgomery County Council. We'll start first with Council President Andrew Friedson and Council Member Will Juwando.
Good afternoon. I am grateful to be here under these circumstances and not far worse circumstances, although nobody is pleased to be here given the nature of the circumstances that we're here to discuss. Tomorrow would be and will be the 25th anniversary of the Columbine shooting. I remember where I was in middle school in Montgomery County Public Schools when that happened, a day that not only shook the Columbine community, but shook every community across our country and impacted and traumatized students for years and decades to come. Unfortunately, that was not a one-off incident. We have seen school shootings since then, and I am just deeply grateful that because of a brave witness who saw something and said something, because of the impressive coordination between our police department here, the Montgomery County Police Department, Municipal Police Department in Rockville, the FBI and federal authorities, the Montgomery County Public Schools, all coordinating together, a similar fate that happened 25 years ago didn't happen at Wootton High School in Rockville, Maryland. We know that dangerous thoughts oftentimes lead to dire threats, and those dire threats can very likely lead to deadly consequences. In this particular case, because of this coordination, because of really effective work, because this was handled the right way, those deadly consequences were avoided, the consequences of which we can't even fathom and can't even possibly imagine. So we are pleased, we are grateful for the hard work of so many people who are part of this, who did the right thing, and we look forward to improving the circumstances and the consequences to make sure that we can address these issues moving forward. There's clearly a mental health crisis that we are facing. We need to make sure that we are addressing that with the seriousness and the sensitivity that it deserves, understanding that not addressing those issues lead to dire circumstances and potentially deadly circumstances. So thank you to the FBI for their coordination. Thank you to the Montgomery County Police Department and their leadership. Thank you to Montgomery County Public Schools and county government employees for your efforts and your work. Today is a sober day, but it would have been a catastrophic day if not for the heroic work of so many people who were part of avoiding such a terrible tragedy from happening. Now let me call up the chair of the Education and Culture Committee on the County Council, my colleague Will Juanda.
Thank you, Council President Friedson. I am here in a couple of roles, like probably many of us up here. I'm the council member at large, represent the whole county. Our job is to make sure we keep our residents safe and give them what they need to thrive. I'm a chair of the Education and Culture Committee, which has oversight over our school system's budget, as well as our community college system and early childhood education. I'm just coming from a hearing literally 30 minutes ago where we talked about funding for high school wellness centers for mental health and somatic health needs of our students and putting us on a path to have those in every 25 of our high schools. We know that they played a critical role here along with so many other partners. And I'm here as a dad of 4 children, several of whom are in MCPS schools right now. As was mentioned, this is a sobering moment for our community. It's a reminder that we aren't immune from these threats of mass violence that have become all too prevalent. When a potential tragedy like this is averted, it still remains a tragedy. And I think I want to remind us of this for the young people at that school, in our community, for the families, for the young person who is accused here, and for their family, who's obviously in need of serious help, including the students and families in the Wootton High School cluster. And as was mentioned by Mr. Hall, there will be ongoing available services for those students in the community. When we engage and connect with each other, that's how we heal. If you look at the guidance from the American Psychological Association, what you do with kids is you don't run away from these situations, you talk to them about them in an age-appropriate way. It helps them process the fear and the pain of the drills that they do, of hearing about this on the internet and on social media. We have to talk to them. That builds that resilience. And so I want to thank and just add my thanks to Chief Jones, to the Rockville Police, to the FBI, to MCPS, to the brave young person who stepped out there and made the tip, to the counselor who then broke what is normally a breaking of your professional responsibility, except in instances of violence to others, who stepped up and made that very serious decision to speak with law enforcement and to confirm and give information that helped lead us to this point where we're not here in a different circumstance, bemoaning the loss of life. We can never accept violence and threats in our community, and it's our commitment collectively to make sure we ensure everyone is safe. The last thing I'll say is, being a parent, this is not my quote, but I use it a lot, is like wearing your heart on the outside of your chest. Anything touches it, it makes you scared about what could happen. And I'm just thankful we live in a county and a state that has strong gun laws, that has collaboration, that has a strong commitment to keeping everyone safe. That's what happened in this instance. We can obviously always do better and coordinate more, but the system worked, and we communicated with each other in a timely fashion to remove this threat and hopefully get this young man and his family the support they need. Thank you.
Okay. Did you plan on making a comment?
So I'm Councilmember Lori Ann Sales, Councilmember at Large and member of the Health and Human Services Committee. And I wish we were here under different circumstances. It's unfortunate that we're here, but I want to thank law enforcement at the local level, the FBI, and all of the coordinated efforts that thwarted this tragedy from going any further. My heart goes out to everyone that's been impacted, from our school community to the family. We recently passed the SAFE Act here in Montgomery County to avoid any gun-related incidents. We know that mental health is at the top of mind for our residents post-pandemic. And so I'm glad that we are here to ensure that nothing like this happens again. We're going to ensure that this young man receives the repercussions that come with making these sorts of decisions. We never want to have a tragedy like this in our community. And so I'm glad that the efforts of our law enforcement worked, and we have avoided this tragedy, and we are here to commit to moving forward together to ensure that this does not happen again. In the middle of budget season, we are making the investments to ensure that we are bringing the resources our students and our community need to address any challenges associated with mental health, associated with combating violence in our community. And I just thank the efforts of everyone here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to this incident in our community. Thank you.
At this time, we'll take questions from the media. I do ask if you could, I will walk around with the microphone because we want to make sure that those who are streaming online or watching online can hear the question. So if you could, I will walk around, and we're going to allow about 5 to 7 minutes for question and answer.
Chief, a couple quick questions. Yes. Question number one, the book made reference to a gun case in a home. Is that fiction? Were there any guns in the home? That's question one. And number two, what role did this anniversary of Columbine play in your decision to act now?
It's two great questions, Brad. First, I'll note in regards to the gun at the home, there was a gun that was locked up in the residence that belongs to the father, but our understanding is that the student did not have access and could not gain access to said weapon. And so the second part about Columbine, it's ironic that you asked this about how would that relate in my decision as we move forward. In fact, I didn't even think about Columbine until yesterday I was reminded about it. when we were, after we had made the arrest on Wednesday, and we're now, speaking and putting out a press statement about what had actually occurred. So I just think it's eerie in its own right, particularly that it's the 25th anniversary of Columbine coming up on tomorrow. And then on when we really just go back throughout the years of preparation, when those events actually are occurring real time in law enforcement, and what our law enforcement agencies in Montgomery County have done with many of our federal partners as well, to be prepared for such a tragedy should that someone desire to take a gun into a school and commit a mass shooting. The good news is that's never happened. I am pleased about the work that, again, as I've stated before, that we prevented this from even sort of getting to the next level and preventing it from happening. And this is, again, it goes to what I've always stated about crime in our community. Yes, we are crime solvers, but it's also the responsibility of law enforcement to prevent crimes in advance, not to allow it to happen. And in this case, that truly happened.
Was the gun an AR-15?
It was not, no.
Hello, Chief. Thank you very much. I just wanted to commend you for great police work. This actually is a question for Mr. Elrich, if he doesn't mind stepping away here. Yesterday when this story broke, I read this story. I've been covering crime in this town for 20 years. What is the reluctance of the county to admit that this individual was transgender? This is the 4th time that we've seen this happen very recently. And right here, I hear all of our leadership saying to us today, and what we do in journalism here, we try not to do, is bury the lead. Why am I hearing about this from the New York Post?
Because it's not a lead. How do you publicize every time somebody gets murdered that it's a white Christian male who's heterosexual? No, you don't. Are these the only crimes that get committed? You never publish somebody's sexual orientation when you talk about this. Why you focus on it being a transgender is beyond me. It is not a news story. It is not a crime to be transgender, and I'm sorry you feel that way.
That's not what I said.
Okay. If there are any other questions for Marc Elrich before he leaves, because he does have a prior engagement. One question for, okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, this is a question for anyone up there in terms of local police presence at schools. There has been recent discussion at the school board on safety and security. The issue of having SROs in the building was obliquely brought up, but is it your feeling that the system needs to return to having SROs in the buildings as they did 3 or 4 years ago?
I will answer that, Kate. Again, we have worked with Montgomery County Public Schools since we created the Memorandum of Understanding for the CEO program. And in the midst of that, it was really discussed about how each school, we would have the ability to go into those schools should we need to be of presence. That still remains true, right? That we still have the ability to be in those schools if necessary. And there have been times it has been necessary for us to have a presence, right? And I am committed wholeheartedly, working with the interim superintendent, and we've had discussions, her and I, about school safety. That's an important dynamic, okay? Because presence, again, when I talk about preventing crimes, to me, that's very important. Having a police presence and visibility is a matter that, again, usually deters crime. Not 100%, right? But it has proven to be that when you have visibility, that it does prevent these actions from happening. So we want to continue to work. Our officers are committed to being in those schools as needed and being visible as required. Okay.
Hi. This is another question regarding school security. So as a student at Wootton, I would like to know at what point security around our school increased and who at Wootton was made aware of the reason for the security increase.
Great, thank you for that question. So we take security at all of our schools very seriously, and as the chief mentioned, work very closely with our police partners to make sure that we do have a presence anytime that there is an incident or anytime that police are required to be at our schools, and they have provided unwavering support to us. We did make sure that we had an increased level of security as soon as we found out from the police when we were notified of the incident and of the potential school that was mentioned, and so that has been in place and will continue to be in place. But again, I would just thank and commend our police partners in the relationship that we maintain with our police who are in our schools when necessary and do provide a great level of support to make sure that we have a safe and welcoming learning environment for all 160,000 students in Montgomery County.
Hello, yes. I have a question. As a candidate running for Board of Education, some parents have asked me to be here, and one of their questions is, elementary schools are an easy target of be seen in Uvalde, Texas, and in pages from the would-be shooter. How do you plan to improve safety in our elementary schools?
So thank you for that question. First, I will say that our elementary schools are safe. Our elementary schools are very safe, as well as all of our schools. And again, we take this very seriously. We do have security personnel assigned to our elementary schools. Unfortunately, we're not able to have necessarily someone positioned in each school all of the time, but we have personnel that are assigned to each school, and they maintain close relationships with the principals and the administration of those schools, along with our police partners, again, to make sure that we're able to respond timely and effectively to any potential threats, and again, calling on the support of our police partners anytime there is an elevated level of threat to any of our schools.
Chief Scott Broom, WUSA 9. Could you please clarify for us, we had an involuntary commitment. It's unclear to us if the arrest occurred upon discharge from a hospital exactly. Was there a time frame? And we talked about criminalizing this versus using the mental health system. What was sort of the decision point to not go for yet another involuntary commitment? What raised it to the level of an arrest?
So, well, I'll start with the sort of the timeline with the involuntary commitment. So, I believe Mr. Yee was committed. If my notes are correct. He was initially, again, the emergency evaluation petition was served on March 6th. And he, again, I think was within the hospital's care until around March, was it like 18th or 19th? I think that's around the date. So he was not released from hospital care and immediately arrested. We were monitoring him to make sure, and again, as the investigation was continuing to go, again, providing security as needed, and making sure that this individual, I think, again, and the community, most importantly, were safe. So that was of most importance to us at that particular time. As it relates to the decision on, again, we looked at the vast majority, again, of not just the fact that, that we know that he has had some psychological challenges, but there comes a time when we know individuals who become involved in this, some of them who also have psychological challenges. The criminal justice system allows us an avenue to help get additional help in order to, again, not only to get those individuals the help, but also to keep the community safe at the same time. And so, again, when we looked at all of the elements that were involved in this, comparably not to just what he wrote in the manifesto, but if you look at the other evidence that supported our decision, it related to what he had noted in his internet searches. And we thought that was something that was really, I thought, very damaging, and really showed that he had these thoughts of ideation that these could come true. And so I thought it was important for us to take this initiative on the enforcement front.
Okay, one last question from Ms. Shazad, and then we're going to be wrapping.
Thank you. Chief Jones, I think you mentioned that he also made statements about the elementary school that he went to.
Yes.
Can you name the school?
I believe it's Lakewood Elementary School. Okay? All right.
All right, we thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.